Let's talk about fan fiction. What is it? You've probably read it, you've probably seen it, and you've probably written one without you even knowing it. In this video, I will attempt to explain what fanfiction is and why is it relevant and important as a part of children and young adult literature. So let's start with what is fanfiction. Fanfiction, as the word suggests, are works of fiction written by fans of a series. Either it is a book, either it is a movie, either it is TV series and anything. So examples of fanfiction, stories that you've made when you're a child. For example, you are a fan of My Little Pony and then you are also a fan of Spider-Man. You want those two universes to interact. You want to create a story with characters from My Little Pony and Spider-Man. And if you did, you have just written fan fiction. And that old Romeo plus Juliet movie from the 90s, that's also fan fiction because it is a reimagining of an old story. Hamilton, the critically acclaimed musical from Lin-Manuel Miranda. That is technically a fan fiction. So fan fiction is everywhere, and you've probably heard that fan fiction has been seen in a negative light. And of course there are controversies surrounding fan fiction. Number one, it being technically a copyright infringement. And number two, fan fiction is infamous for being excessively smutty. Yeah, you've probably seen or read one that is quite spicy, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves here. So, why is fan fiction important and why is it relevant in the study of children and young adult literature? Well, number one, fan fiction is a great way for young writers to start writing. It's a great way to learn how to write and build stories. It's a good way to learn how to develop characters because you already have a character you love, and it is easier that way for people to create stories around characters that are already developed. And second, and I think which is the most important part of fanfiction, is that fanfiction is a beautiful opportunity for readers and writers to see themselves represented in the stories that they love. Representation is a very, very important thing in literature, and sadly there's not enough of it. You see that in most mainstream series and novels, you see a certain type of pairing, heterosexual pairing, and then there are a certain type of skin color. And fanfiction is a great way for readers to reimagine those things in a way that it reflects the way they look and the way they are. So fanfiction, and especially the community around it, has been quite friendly with the LGBTQ community, and in fact fanfiction that are quite queer are numerous. Websites such as Tumblr, Archive of Our Own, fanfiction.net and Wattpad are chock full of queer fanfiction. And the environment around fanfiction, especially queer fanfiction, is very supportive, and while there are things in fightings when it comes to pairings, mostly those are beneath the surface. So if you love fanfiction, just read fanfiction. If you love writing fanfiction, just write about fanfiction. And if you don't, well, there are other things to read about.